Guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're going to look at the SOTA Street Fighter Revolutions Wave R Mika, or Rainbow Mika. On the right we have the Player 1 version, on the left we have the 2-pack version. The 2-pack variant is actually a better figure quality-wise. She has the proper color skin paint. Hers is kind of grayish and weird looking. The blue one is kind of grayish weird. That one looks good. That one's got better joint quality also, but we're not going to review the variant, we're going to review the Player 1. They have the same accessories, so you don't need to worry about that. Let's get started. She stands, when she's straight up, roughly just shy of 6 inches tall. So maybe she's a little bit too tall to be in line with this scale. The Revolutions tend to have that problem. As far as accessories go, she has this head right here. A little bit of a googly eye thing going on, and this head here, which is just an open mouth version. The hair is articulated because it unpegs, so you can swap it out for the other head, obviously. And the pegs actually fit in pretty well, so that's a good thing. The paint job's not bad. There's some nice shading throughout the hair. The eyes are pretty well done when they're not googly. Good detail work. And then the mouth is painted pretty well also. There's some nice airbrushing on this hair, so the quality isn't bad in general. There's just some problems throughout. She has an open hand for each side, and then she has a fist hand for each side as well. She has the same problem as Dalsim and Honda in that the sculpt is not quite done. It's a little bit rough looking and choppy. No fingernails at all sculpted, no paint work obviously if they're not sculpted. So they're just not as good as they could have been. The rest of the figure, the sculpt is pretty well finished. There are some issues with the shoe lacing or the boot lacing. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know why it looks so bright. I don't know what's going on here. There, I think you can probably see it. It's just a little bit rough. It's still nicely detailed. It's not quite finished, and there's no paint work other than solid white. So the paintwork everywhere else, the lines are fairly well done. There's not too much of a problem anywhere. Like I said, her skin color is a little bit off, but you know, if you put her on the shelf with the rest of the figure, she's not going to stand out as being a problem. She just has little issues throughout. As far as articulation goes, like I said, the hair pegs in so you can move that. The head is articulated like all the others with a double ball peg. Fairly good range of motion. That little collar piece gets in the way, but it's not horrible. She has ball disc shoulders. They do tend to be a little bit loose. This one's not too bad, but that does happen. Double jointed elbow, so good range of motion there. And the wrist, since they're interchangeable, they have a peg, which I'm not going to pull out because it tends to break. So it swivels and has the pivot. Usually not too much trouble with them other than the peg. It doesn't fit in very well. They didn't do a great job with that. The torso, there's an ab crunch, which gets really stuck, but it does work really well once it's not stuck. So that's pretty well done. So good range of motion everywhere. The paint goes all the way up, so I'm not complaining about that. She has this ball peg waist twist going on. That's just a mess though. It's either stuck or loose, or this one's loose and stuck at the same time. I can't swivel it barely. It's really, really tight for swiveling, but it's too loose this way. But when it works properly, it works kind of like the neck, except for it's a single ball peg, so it's somewhat limited, but it is there. The hips are just like Honda and Dalsim. They have the T-joint there for the up and down, and then they have this pivot out here for the side to side, which works fairly well. It's a little bit loose for the T-joint, but it's not too bad. The knees are double jointed. This is, I've never noticed this before for her knees. They're double jointed, so you have the two pivots right there. And then they also have the swivel built into them at the top. I never noticed that before. So I don't know why they have that, but they do. There's a swivel at the thigh. I don't know. Maybe it's not going to be as bright once I look at the video, but right now it looks super bright and I can't see what's going on. But so they have the swivel at the top of the knee, and then it's a single pivot for each the top and the bottom. So double jointed knee. And then she has the ankle pivot right there. And like the new Marvel Legends, it has the ankle rocker that's from the peg sticking off of the disc into the foot. So decent range of motion for all the joints. It's not a horrible figure. If it wasn't for the few problems, I'd say it's a really good figure. It does have those few problems though in the unfinished sculpt, the weird paint scheme for the skin. Again, this one, a lot of the problems, not counting the unfinished sculpt, this one's better quality. The paint's better, the joints are a little tighter, but as a whole it's the same figure. So do I recommend it? I do if you're trying to complete the Street Fighter line. Otherwise, it's probably an easy pass. So there's our Mika. Stay tuned for the rest of the Revolutions and other figures that I didn't do yet. And in the meantime, keep collecting.